Hi, I'm Benjamin Ray, and I am running for Boone Town Council. This week I've had some great engagement and questions for our public, asking me on social media and by email just what I stand for, and also trying to get a general feel for who I am. Well, I'm excited to tell you my platform is three different things right now, mainly. Workforce housing and student housing conditions, good planning for our future, and downtown and neighborhood beautification. So first, housing. I'm a real estate agent, as some of you know. I've been in the business for 10 years as an agent. I've also been someone who has owned property here in Boone and try to be a very good landlord to tenants, some of them local professionals and many of them students, and also some of them vacation renters. And so as someone who owns properties, I know what people deal with who are tenants and some of the problems they deal with here in town. I hear it all the time, mostly from students who come to me and I show them the place that I have for rent, and they talk to me about how difficult it's been living in Boone and some of the really bad living conditions that some of our students have to deal with here in town. And so that's near to my heart because I've heard from a lot of students over the years, and I've been a landlord for 15 years, that they love my places and they were kept up really well and they were just excited to rent from me. And even though I didn't make these the Taj Mahal, I did spend money and time to make my places nice. But I started listening to that and thinking, well, there's something going on here in our town where students are probably taken advantage of in some ways by their landlords or their management company. And so that's one of the things I want to really get behind, is our students who are not living in the best situations and really need someone to go to bat and fight for them here in town, and keep everyone on the same level playing field who is responsible for renting to our students, and trying to have a great living condition for our students, because they make up such an amazing fabric of our town, and there's such an energy and dynamic here in Boone that so many people comment about. And I really believe our students give so much of that, and our campus does, and we need to give back to them and really have the same standard for them as we do our local professionals. And so that is one of the housing issues I want to address when I get into council. Also, workforce housing. So we have a real issue in Boone with our professionals, our locals, having good rental options for them. And I've heard it for years, and I hear it sometimes from Human Resources and ASU, Samaritan's Purse, the hospital are constantly trying to bring in really good employment and bring in great positions in this town within these companies and institutions. And many times these people decide not to move here because there are no good rental options for them when they get here as a local. And that's really something that has been avoided, I think, for too long, and I want to figure this problem out. With the help of other council members, I think we can do this. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. It's going to take some time. It's going to take federal grants. It's going to be talking to the county and having really good relationships with Watauga County to figure out the housing situation here. As you know, our real estate industry is booming right now, and prices are astronomical. And so many people who come to this area cannot afford to just buy a house as soon as they get a new job. So I think renting here in Boone is something that needs to be a better option, rather than having to drive 20, 30 minutes from the county into Boone to work at our great jobs that we have here. And so that's one of the things I want to address, is figuring out even certain land masses and the things that the town owns that are just sitting there and not really being taken advantage of, and try to figure out, can we develop these into some multifamily properties? Can we possibly annex some property that's right outside the town in the Bamboo area, maybe even towards the old 421 area, going towards the Food Lion and Deep Gap? There's some great opportunities if we can figure this out and maybe have some greater options for our locals in town if we can really focus on that and not focus on some of these other issues that are kind of distracting us right now. The next thing I would talk about is planning. We have a comprehensive plan for this town that is very outdated. It's from 2006. There was another plan that was actually brought to the council and voted down, and it was going to be until 2030. That was voted down for some really unfortunate reasons, and it should have been brought back to the table, reevaluated, and a new plan brought back for the town. Currently, we don't have a plan. We don't have a comprehensive plan for the town of Boone. That is probably one of my first items of business when we get on to the council, is to bring that plan back up for 2030, look at what the problems were, try to address those problems, talk to our locals, our businesses, figure out what it is that we need for a good future and for our generations to come. We have children in an amazing school district here. A lot of them want to stay here and stay where they're from, but there are some opportunities in town that really need to be addressed to grow gracefully for our future, because we're not thinking for the future, we're thinking now and trying to address problems and react to them without thinking about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is our children to come and them really holding a legacy for Boone and creating something great to influence the high country in an amazing way. The next thing I would talk about is planning for our beautification of the downtown, good parking for people downtown. We have such an influx right now of our locals, but also just out-of-towners who are coming to vacation here, people with second homes all around the high country come to Boone as a hub. We are the heart of the high country, and we need to think about downtown as that heartbeat and really plan it right. Our streetscapes, our neighborhoods around downtown should have a cohesion to them. And that involves park systems, that involves beautification of neighborhoods with just landscaping, just better signage, and maybe even talking to some of our local businesses that are on King Street and figuring out a better solution to some of our streetscapes and trying to get them together, not being ultra restrictive, because that's what's happening now. There's actually a business downtown overlay in a historic district that has been voted on by the current town council. And I think that needs to be brought to the table and maybe reconsidered and think about who it's actually affecting, because our local businesses are the heart and they are the fabric of our job systems here and our locals. And some of the things we're doing are actually going to be more prohibitive for our local businesses, and actually creating roadblocks for our local businesses to actually be productive and active here in our community. And some of these restrictions are so difficult that bigger businesses can come into our town and they can actually have the money to get past the hurdles, whereas our local businesses cannot. And so, for instance, Starbucks is one that so many people are against coming to the King Street area and that main portal coming in. And it is a detriment that much traffic would come in right into King Street, and I'm not really in support of that. But the problem is, what we're doing right now in restricting the downtown is actually creating more opportunities for big businesses, because they can overcome all the hurdles that we're presenting by some of these restrictions, and they have the time, they have the money to get past that. And we're actually incentivizing bigger businesses because we're making it more difficult to have a good business here in town. And so they're the only ones that can get through the red tape. They're the only ones that can wait out all the permitting process, the historic district process, and the board that has to oversee that. So there's really some opportunities that we need to look at to make our businesses thrive here locally and support bigger businesses when it makes sense. I'm not against Starbucks. We have a great Starbucks here in town. I'm just wanting to think through things and be more common sense about it. And that is really all that I want to do is bring common sense. Bring common sense to this town, bring it to our board, work with our town officials, work with the county, and listen to our locals, and really be an ear for them and a sounding board to listen to what their needs are and what their concerns are, and actually address those concerns and not be selfish about our decisions, but really listen to the people. So there you have it, Boone. 3 things: housing, planning, and beautification. That's what I stand for. Get out November 2nd and vote.